Hey y'all, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to do the Bookish Q&A video for the 500 subscribers celebration. Thank you all so much for all of your great questions. To be fully transparent here, I'm filming this on Sunday. The giveaway technically ends tomorrow, but if I have any additional Bookish questions, I will just do like an edit and add that in. But I already have like 28 Bookish questions, and it's just going to take me so long, and I really want to get this video up this week. So I'm going to do the personal and faith section separate. I think I'll have the Bookish Q&A come out first and then the personal faith stuff later. But yeah, so like I said, today this is going to be all about books, booktube, all your burning questions. So baby girl has got tea, because am I going to spill some tea today? I don't know. I don't know. I'm working on my Jane Austen July vlog for Pride and Prejudice this weekend, and I made some tea. But I have also got this cool cup. It's got some water in it, like with a Mio type stuff in it. But Bookworm and Proud, I got this from Al Grant a long time ago. So I've got a lot of drinks sitting around. So yeah, it is what it is. But I like this little cup. Always be humble, cute. Okay, so let's go ahead and just jump right in. I'm filming on my husband's phone. My phone's right here because I'm still working on my vlog, and the storage is about to get full. So it's a whole thing. All right, let's go. So the first question was, if you could spend a whole day with a fictional character, who would it be? Gotta take a sip for this. So you already know, this is like my favorite book. Outlander series is my favorite, and Jamie Fraser is like my go-to answer on this. Like, someone's asked me this before, and that's just like my immediate answer, like Jamie Fraser. But also like Claire, Roger, and Brianna. I would love to just be with the whole Outlander group. That would be amazing. Maybe not necessarily in the 1700s, because reasons I would not survive. But like I said, this is my favorite book, even though despite its content, it's still my favorite story of all time. And yes, ma'am. So Jamie Fraser. Now, if we're not talking about them, second place here, y'all. Second place, Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit, Gandalf, and then I got books everywhere. Then we got the Fellowship, any characters from this world, Middle Earth. And then I don't have the book with me. It's Pango. I mean, I think that my Ross Poldark book is lost. I should have just ordered from Amazon. Pango. This is the second time I've lost a book. Now, I ended up getting it still, but it's the whole thing 2 months later. So we'll see. Not that I'm in a hurry to reread it, but anyway. Ross Poldark and Demelza are my number 4. So Jamie Fraser, Claire, Roger, Brianna, number 2. Bilbo Baggins and Gandalf, and then Ross Poldark and Demelza. So yes, that's like my group that I would love to spend the whole day with a fictional character. Number 2, what is the name of the author that you buy regardless? Sorry, what am I saying? Number 2, what is the name of the author that you buy regardless of knowing the subject, fiction and nonfiction? Fiction, I'm gonna say like Jennifer Dibble. Honestly, I do have her book sitting right here. Where'd it go? Yeah. Jennifer Dibble. I mean, anything she writes, I'm gonna buy. I loved her first 2 books. I don't own the second one, but I've ordered it. So, I have read both of them, but I love them so much. So anything she writes, like I've already talked about her several times. So she has a new book coming out next year in February, and I'm gonna put the cover here of that book because it looks amazing, y'all. So yeah, that's my most anticipated for next year, but. Yeah, Jennifer Dibble for fiction. She writes Christian historical romances, and she also has great settings in Ireland. I love Ireland, Scotland, all that stuff. So yeah, I'm here for those. And then for nonfiction, probably Dane Ortland. Anything he writes. I know he has another book, but we read Gentle and Lowly. I loved it. It was just amazing. So I would honestly buy his nonfiction. Other nonfiction, just, because I know if it's Christian, I'm going to want to read it, right? No matter what kind of Christian nonfiction it is, or the topics that he discusses. And then Lee Strobel. I really liked Lee Strobel. I've read, was it 2 Lee Strobels? Have I read 2? The Case for, I don't remember. I know The Case for Grace was one of my favorite books this year. So, yeah, Lee Strobel. I've got several of his books on my shelf. Number 3, what made you decide to join BookTube? Well, y'all, I've been watching BookTube since 2017. Mostly it was secular BookTube, like a lot of Jessie the Reader, Ariel Bissett, and I still like some Ariel Bissett, Thoughts on Tomes, The Book Life, or let's see, who else did I watch? I watched so many of like those big people, like big secular booktubers. And then I finally found Oshina, and that is when I started watching all the Christian booktubers. And then I found Lindsay from Books for Christian Girls, and like my channel was just like my first and last name, my personal account. So I was commenting on their videos, and then I started finding the other groups like Holly and all of them, the other channels. And I just kept feeling like, I was watching their videos for so long. I just kept feeling like I should join the community. And I love to read. And like I said, I commented on all those videos all the time, and I just really wanted to be part of this beautiful community that I saw was blossoming from the Christian side. Like, I knew I didn't want to be a part of the secular booktube, even though I was reading a lot of secular, like young adult fiction. I just didn't want to be a part of that. There was all this drama, and people were getting canceled for stuff that they were or were not reading, or what they supported versus didn't support. It was just too much for me. And then when I found the Christian side, I was like, this is it. And so I watched the Christian side for at least 6 months to a year, or maybe even 2 years. No, it was like 2 years, yeah. Yeah, because it was like 2020. And so, y'all. So I kept trying to make videos earlier this year, like in January, and I was like, I don't like my voice. I just felt like I didn't sound good, and I was really nervous and all this stuff. And so I was just like, I can't do this. Well, in February, I went and did a presentation at work, and I was in front of all these people, like, it was this whole thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was so nervous. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning. We were on Eastern time because we traveled, and I'm normally Central time, and I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, I did really good at that presentation. Everyone was really proud of me. I was so thankful, and even though I was nervous, it didn't really show, And so after I did that, I had this confidence. Like, I finally got this confidence. I was like, I can do this. And so I finally published my first video in February this year. And I was just like, we'll see how this goes. And I'm just so thankful how it has went. You guys are just amazing. And so you can tell in my first videos, honey, I was so nervous. It was not me. Like, I was just like, hi, my name is Amanda. I'm from Tennessee. Just like, okay, who is this? And I was actually just starting to getting to read Christian fiction, like, in the past couple of years. So, yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit more later, this question. But, yeah, that's what made me decide to join. So, I slowly started opening up and becoming my truer self, like my real self, to show that, because it's hard. Like, I was so nervous to film myself. It was weird. Anyway, number 4, if you could read only one author for an entire year, what would it be? Who would it be and why? I got two sections. We're going to say Christian and non-Christian, okay? We're going to say Christian fiction. Oh my gosh. So I would say Francine Rivers and Sarah Sundin. Those are my 2 Christian fiction authors, because I have only read Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers ever. And I have a lot of her books on my shelf. She has a big backlist of books to read. And then Sarah Sundin, same thing. I have only read this book by her, and I loved it. And so, yes, ma'am, I have a lot of her books on my shelf, and I need to get through them. So that would be my Christian fiction author. And then non-Christian fiction, I would say, oh, you already know, Outlander, Diana Gabaldon, because there are 9 Outlander books, plus some like novellas and stuff, but I've only read a couple of them. Some of them I wasn't crazy about, but yeah, the main Outlander series, because I have reread this book like 2 or 3 times, and I would love to reread them all, and honey, that would take me a whole year. So so that would be yeah, I could read them for a whole year, every one of them. So it'd take me forever. So they are weapons. So number 5, what got you into reading and when? Well, we're gonna have to get this book back out. So I'll be honest, I didn't read much as a child, except for like that accelerated reader stuff, you guys. Like, if you know what I'm talking about, you had to like read required reading for school. And I can't even remember what books I read. I wish we would have had some kind of way to track that growing up, but I I don't remember much. But I honestly really got back into reading in 2014 when I first picked this book up. Like, there was just something about this. I'd seen the show coming out, and this is before I was even found my faith again, I'll say, and I'll talk more about all that stuff in my faith-filled video. But this was, like I said, in 2014, and I got so immersed in the show, in the book, in the world, and it just ignited my love for reading historical fiction, everything about it, romance. I loved it so much. And so, like, this really is what got me back into reading in general, because when I had read, like, The Hunger Games, Divergent, Twilight, you know, like, from 2008 to, like, 2013-ish, but, like, it was like I'd read something and I wouldn't read anything else the rest of the year, you know, like, it was like one of those things I never used to read. So, I don't know, something about these books just got me into wanting to really, truly read, and that's my answer for that. Like, my first Goodreads challenge started for me in 2016, if that tells you anything, and I read 12 books that year. Then 2017, I read 55 books, and the rest is history. So, yeah. Number 6, when did you start getting into reading books, particularly Christian books? So I've already answered the first part of this, but the Christian books part I want to talk about. So I started reading Christian fiction like in 2020, and I fell in love with them. I'll talk a little bit more about the specifics later. Someone had asked, but I found myself wanting to read more of those, like, faith-filled books, and just, like, I was so happy in general reading them, and it was like, where have these been my whole life? I didn't even realize this was a thing. I had read Redeeming Love in 2016 because my aunt had, like, let me borrow the book, and I loved it, but I didn't really realize, I guess, Christian fiction at the time. I don't know what it was, because I was newly back to my faith and everything, and, like, in that year, and so, yeah, I don't know, it's just a whole thing. So, yeah. What book has surprised you the most in a good way? I would say The Testament by John Grisham. If you haven't seen my mid-month wrap-up, I will link it in the card, but I loved it. It's 5 stars. Like, it's, you know, John Grisham doesn't really write, like, Christian fiction, and so that book is, like, kind of a hidden gem. It interweaved the Christian faith so beautifully, and it really surprised me. So, yeah, I loved it so much. I've been thinking about it for a while. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. So, yeah. Also think that Pride and Prejudice is kind of surprising me right now because I'm loving it. And, like, I didn't think I'd love classics, you know? So, yeah. Number 8. Do you enjoy reading epistolary books? And I'll be honest, y'all, I didn't know what this was. I had to look it up. I didn't know what that meant. So, I found online that it talked about how this is a story that's usually told in letters. It's not told directly to the reader. It's rather like in documents, like letters. So I've actually never really read a book told in letters or in this format, but I do have the screw tape letters I need to read on my TBR. I actually said I wanted to read it this summer. So, I mean, it's pretty short. I could read it, but we'll see. I've had so much else kind of come up that I need to read. But yeah, I would love to read more books like this, told in letters, because I think you get a lot out of it from what people have said. So yeah. Number 9, what is your favorite book that you have read so far? So I don't know if this means like this year or ever, but somebody else has asked what's the favorite book of all time, so I'll talk about that later. But right now, y'all, you already know. If you've seen my video, if you ain't seen my video on this book, I will link it, but I just talked about it recently, and it's got to be Mrs. Kipp. I mean, The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp by Sarah Brunsfold. Y'all already know. This was an amazing read. It was just everything I needed at such a time in my life. I'll be thinking about this book for a really long time. I won't continue like going crazy about this because you all have already seen in 2 videos me talking about it. If you haven't read this, it's a beautiful Christian fiction, and I highly recommend it. Please read it. Please read it. It's my favorite book ever. 10, without thinking too much, and the first thing that pops into your mind, what's your absolute favorite book of all time? So if somebody just said, hey, what's your favorite book? I'm going to say I love Outlander. Like, that is what it is. Like, it's always been my answer. It's always gonna be my answer. I love this story so much. Like, I just genuinely feel like, despite the content, and because there is content warnings for so many different things in this, if you're ever thinking about picking it up, please look up all the content warnings. This is not Christian at all. It is just not. But it's just, like, honestly, I can't let it go because Jamie and Claire have the just the best relationship and the struggles that they go through, and the best just love story I've ever seen. And yeah, I mean, if you know their story, you know what I'm talking about. And it's just, there's just so much that they went through in their life, and the journey that they take over 9 books. Oh my gosh, just everything. And then Roger, Brianna, just all the characters. I love the setting in Scotland. I love the historical parts. It's just well-rounded for me. This is definitely the answer. So, number 11. If you had to read one genre the rest of your life, what would it be? Oh, y'all. I went back and forth. Like, I love historical and I love romance. So, I don't know if it's just cheating, but I'm going to say historical romance. That would be it, because it's the best of both worlds. So, yeah, because I like historical, but I need a little bit of romance, you know? Number 12, what is the very first book you remember reading as a child? So, I don't have this book anymore, but I loved A Wrinkle in Time in elementary school. And where is it? I do have this book. I just got it this week. Hatchet by Gary Paulson. I don't know, just something about this. I remember loving this. I can't even remember much about it other than I loved it. So, yeah, Hatchet and A Wrinkle in Time was my favorite. And, hold on. Where we at? Oh, my gosh, honey. What am I doing? Tea's gone cold. Not good. What is your favorite trope in a book? You know, I really love, like, the friends to lovers. That's just always my go-to when it comes to tropes. But I also love survival situations, small town southern vibes. I don't know, these tropes, I don't even know. I'd have to look up tropes, I guess. But I just think of things like I like in books, I guess. And as far as like settings, anything in Scotland and the South, I'm here for it. Also, Ireland is the next best. So, yep. Okay, y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this one? I gotta get a sip. What is the worst book you have ever read? I don't know if I can do this. This book, 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades, a whole trilogy. Garbage. I'm sorry. Like, everybody's reading it. Just pre-Jesus for me. Everybody's reading it in 2012 and 2013, 2014. Absolutely not. I remember being like I do remember it. I was like, what is this? You know? And then like, what is this? It was like, what is this? What is this? I don't even know. Like, look, and then like, when I got to book 2 and 3, me and my friend, we were just like, I gotta skip through this. I want to know what happens with them, but So that's why I say, despite the content in this book, there is a story. There is love. There is true love. There is fighting for each other. There is, I mean, everything in the world, y'all. It's just like, there is so much in this that's meaningful. That, honey, peace out. So, okay, next. Number 15. What was your all-time favorite book when you were a child, and is it still a favorite today? A Wrinkle in Time, like I said. I love this world, and I need to continue on, honestly. I've never even seen the movie, but I would say that I still loved it. I reread it as an adult, actually a couple of years ago. Maybe last year. Yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I loved it. I listened to audio. And then, but then there's the next part of this question. What was a book you loved when you were younger, but upon rereading it, it doesn't hit the same? I mean, I don't know that I read a whole lot when I was a kid, you know, like, but I will say that I read those Goosebumps books. Did y'all read them? Because I was obsessed. I remember going to the library and like getting them. It was the whole thing. So like, as far as reading, I do remember reading those. And I don't think I would love those today. I've never reread them, so I guess I don't really have a full answer for that, but I don't think I would like those. Now, y'all, little kid books, Rainbow Fish, honey, all about some Rainbow Fish. Here we go. And if you give the mouse a cookie, yes, ma'am. So, that was it. Number 16, what books did you love in high school? Like I said, I didn't really read much, but I graduated high school in 2008, so I was in there from 2004 to 2008, and it's a whole thing. Twilight. I mean, let's be real. Twilight books. I actually never even finished the series because, I don't know, it was like after I graduated high school, went to college, and I was over it by then. But I read book 1 and 2, and I was like loving them. But like, I think I didn't pick them up till later. I think people picked them up. When did those books come out? Like 2005. I didn't pick it up till I was a senior in high school. So that's the only books I even remember reading in high school. There was too much going on in high school for me to be reading. I didn't. I just didn't care. I was like, I'm out of here, you know. Number 17. What is the best, by far, the best Christian fiction book you have ever read? Now, I've already said this. I think this might be kind of duplicating, but I mean, my answer is, Lord, don't mess up. It's definitely going to be, I'm gonna grab it, these 2 books right here. So, yeah, Redeeming Love and The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp. Something about this book, I know that some people, you know, it's like kind of a love it or hate it kind of thing, but I did love it. I remember at the time I was just really emotional about this book, so I'd like to reread it. I actually just recently purchased this because I didn't own a copy. So, and yes, I've already talked about this, so moving on. The best. Okay. Favorite children's author. Y'all, I just again, I didn't read it. I just like didn't read. But can we say this is a Southern thing for me, okay? And I didn't realize I've been saying their name wrong, and I'm probably gonna butcher it. Do y'all remember like these people? Berenstain. I've been saying the Bernstein. The Bernstein Bears. No, I need Christie's. That's not right. I was like, that's their name? I got some of them books for my kid. But I won't go get them. Stan and Jan Berenstain. Whatever. I guess them. I don't know. I looked at some of them. Like, they had all these others on there. I never was big into Dr. Seuss much. I never was big into some of them that they listed out. So, I just picked that one. I just never really read a whole lot of books as a kid. So, moving on. Number 19. What new to you author are you really excited to try? Y'all already know. You already know. Yes, ma'am. Robin Hobb, girl, honey, Christy, hey, Gray. So, yes, ma'am. I have got to read her. Like, she's one that I've just been like, over the past 2 or 3 years, I'm like, I need to read her. I need to read her. I need to read her. And then, no. So, now that Christy has blessed me with these, I have got to read them. And I'm probably going to start with this one first because it's shorter and yes, ma'am. So, yeah, Robin Hobb, absolutely. She is a fantasy author. Yes, ma'am. Because I read Sanderson and I need to read Hobb. So, yeah. Where was I? Number 20. Do you often read to your son? And if so, what type of books do you read to him? Well, as you know, my son is autistic and it's really hard, honestly, to like get reading done to him. He definitely doesn't really look you in the eye or pay attention a whole lot. But when I try, it's not, so I don't try a whole lot like I should because I'm usually focusing on other tasks like, you know, physically, like trying to work with him on things versus just sitting and reading. But we flip, but what we do is we are not necessarily reading a story. We are actually flipping through the books and pointing out, like I'm trying to get to work with him on pointing versus like just flipping the pages, because he can flip the pages and everything, but can you point and say what that is kind of thing. So we're still honestly like on all the real little children books. But as far as like the favorite books that I read to him when he was really small, before we knew about the autism, I loved like the Winnie the Pooh stories. I was reading those to him when he was really small, and like we were getting like the Dolly Parton library books, and so those would be like the first one I remember we were reading, The Little Engine That Could. That was sweet to read to him. But now we are just solely focused on trying to get him to speak certain words because he doesn't communicate much with us. He's getting a lot better. We're very thankful. But and he's going to start preschool full time and after August 1st. So that's going to help. I mean, because he was only 3 days a week last time and he was in daycare the other 2 days and speech therapy. So it's a whole thing, but not to rattle off on that because there are more personal questions about that story anyway on the personal video. But yeah, as far as reading to him, that's a struggle. But we'll focus more on the actual books, getting him to point. Like I've got some pop-it books where he can like pop the little bubbles and stuff, saying cow, dog, and all like the sounds and that sort of thing. So yes, he is mowing and I'm sure you can hear it. Somebody, it's not here, it's the neighbor. So, number 21, what Ted Dekker books do you own? Asking for reasons. I brought them out. Hold on. I literally only have these. Like, these are my first Ted Dekker books that I bought, and they're like children's books, middle grade. So, I need to get some more, but, you know, reasons. I just like, y'all already saw I was out of space. So, but somebody talked about like the Circle series or whatever it is. I do want to try to read them sometime. 22. I don't even think I've been saying the numbers the whole time. Whatever, we on 22. What do you find to be the hardest part of BookTube? All right, y'all, so it's going to be kind of an up and down here. So when I first started BookTube, I honestly felt like just trying to get your channel seen was pretty hard for a while. But I mean, I think generally now we pretty much take care of all of each other around here, like on this community. Like we try to let you know who we love, who we watch, and just to give everybody else like new people that you can follow. Like I'll talk about Chrissy, Miriam, Oshina, Holly, like Lindsay. I'm just randomly naming people, like just as an example. Like we're always like shouting out our friends and letting you know, hey, these are the people in the community that we follow and all that stuff. So I think we all kind of take care of each other around here so that other people can find us. But you know, when you first start out, it's so hard to like get your name out there, I guess. Like I was on Instagram and I was posting about it and all this stuff, but you know, you have to make sure like your headers and stuff. Sometimes I use hashtags of like really like Christian fiction just so those people can find me more so. And just, you know, trying to work on the thumbnails and make sure, like when you start, just trying to make sure that everything's going to be aesthetically pleasing where somebody's going to want to watch your video, you know, and the storage issues with the phone and the filming and all that stuff, like trying to make sure where I have the stuff not backwards and all that. It's a whole thing. And like, yeah, that was really hard. But for right now, as far as now that I've been doing this for a few months, I think now it's just trying to like keep up with your content creation and like new ideas and things like that. You know, new ideas can be challenging, and sometimes I worry, am I going to have anything for this month? But obviously this month I ain't had no problem. So I just feel like I put so many things out. But, you know, for me, it's like if I film a video, I need to get it off my phone, because if I'm constantly working on stuff and scheduling stuff out, it's like I need to get this off my phone because of storage problems. Like right now, I'm working on the vlog, but I can't film this video on my phone right now or I would lose space, right? So, yeah, and I have a 128 gig phone. It's a whole thing. iMovie, what iMovie does is it stores like ghosted files. So it might say, even though it might say 8 to 10 gigs on there, and like the files itself, y'all, it's crazy. This whole thing, I'm going on a tangent, but like right now, I guess it's not in the cloud yet. We about full, okay? Look at all that gray space. So it's weird, like all my stuff, I have to kind of disable the apps. Lou from Christian Faith and Fiction and I have talked about this because she uses her iPad, I think. And she talked about how iMovie does ghosted files where it's like you have to like, I have to delete iMovie and reinstall it when I'm done with the video because it just holds it up. And then like where you film stuff and it's not necessarily uploaded to your cloud, then you're like, why do I have all this weird space? So like right now I ain't gonna be able to do, I'm not gonna be able to export that video. I'm gonna have to figure something out. I ain't even done with it yet. It's this whole thing. But sometimes if you like cut your phone off and back on, it'll free some of the space. It's just weird. I tried this whole thing and I gotta be so careful not to delete the app because like on Instagram I got locked out for so many hours and I was like, ah. So anyway, sorry, I just went off on a tangent on that, but just giving you some ideas there. But that's pretty much it. Trying to keep up with your content creation and ideas. So number 23, does anyone outside of your husband in your personal life know about your channel and what do they think of it? Y'all coming in with these questions now. I see this, I was like, girl, okay. Y'all really want to know. So my coworkers know, my family knows, anyone like in my main circle, I have told, and I posted it recently when I got my logo made for my friend. If you ain't seen it, you know, go look at my Instagram, it's there. I didn't say anything for like a whole month to anybody. Like when I first did it though, like I was like, we're keeping this on the DL. I don't want nobody knowing at work. Like, I was like, I don't want anybody knowing. Not even my best friends at work. I didn't tell them for months. I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody, because I was like, what if nobody follows me? And I look so crazy on there. But, yeah, y'all just kind of showed out on my channel, so I'm just so thankful for it. But, y'all actually did like me, so I was so excited about that. And so after I hit 100 subscribers, I told my group at work, and it was like, what? So, which we had been talking about it. We've been talking, I've been saying I was wanting to make a YouTube, like, just because, not even about books, like, just about, like, because I'm just, like, my personality's like, I'm crazy. So, at work, we've been talking about it, and, you know, I was like, what can my channel be about? Bible journaling, faith, books, all that good stuff. So, yeah. But as far as, like, what have they said about it, everybody's been really supportive. I mean, women support women, honey. So, we all got the hype team. So, yeah, it's been good. You know, I've had a couple negative comments here and there, but it's fine. You know, I mean, none of my friends really read. I don't know. I've already told you I don't really have any close friends. It is what it is. I'll talk a little bit more about that on question 25. But in general, most people are very supportive. Number 24, what has been your favorite video to make? Y'all, instant answer, my Southern video. That was so much fun. You can genuinely tell I had so much fun. You have got to watch it. If you haven't, it's going to be linked. I loved it so much. I just love being able to share, like, the culture of how I grew up, and like with the things, like how we say certain words and things like that. And y'all were just so fun in the comments. I mean, I had so many comments. So yeah, I love that video. And then number 25, what do you love most about BookTube? Honestly, this community, y'all. You all are amazing. We have great book conversations. Y'all are so supportive, kind, and just genuine people. And just being able to connect with you all. I mean, and then, like, generally the friends I have made is the number one thing. Like, this is getting deep, but I don't have any friends in my life. Like, I don't. I work. I have my family, which is my immediate family, like my aunts, uncles, and cousins. I have a lot of them, but they're 2 hours east, and they live in East Tennessee, and I'm in Middle Tennessee, so I don't see them much, but a couple times a year. And I don't know, this has just been such a blessing this has just been such a blessing from the Lord. And I don't know, just being able to communicate and know that I have a prayer circle if I need them, and just everybody in here, and just, you know, I've been able to, like, text some friends, actually, like, you know, I never texted anybody, you know, I just didn't have no friends to talk about anything that was going on in my life, and this has just been amazing. It's also been so just wonderful to connect with authors and publishers and just the friends, like I said, that I've made, and, you know, it's just, I don't know, I just feel like this has been a big blessing for me, because, you know, it gets lonely. You know, you think, like, you know, I had some friends growing up, but then, like, they all kind of went their separate ways. You graduate high school, then you go to college. Well, then you graduate college, and I always had my boyfriend, which was Blake, and, you know, when I graduated college, I found a job. We got married, you know, and it's like this whole thing of, like, in your life, and then people just kind of come in and out of your life. Now, I do have a couple of friends, 2 friends, that I can say I could text anytime, and we just kind of pick up, right? But it's not the same. They live 2 hours away as well in East Tennessee. It's just not the same unless we can actually connect together all the time. So this has been, like I said, this has been a blessing. I can't wait to see where we go from here, y'all. It's just, my heart is just, it really is. And sometimes I get emotional, and I've teared up about it, because I think, you know, like a year ago, I just never would have thought that I'd have these good friends in this community, and sorry, I get emotional, and just to have people there for me like this, you know. I mean, my coworkers are really good friends, but there's something different about when you can bond over reading and the books, and especially, like, the Bible journaling and your faith and everything. It's just something different when you can connect with them. But I didn't expect to tear up like that. I was thinking about it. If you just sit and you really think about it, you know, I don't know. It's hard to explain. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. I love y'all. I really do. And then Number 26. Okay, let's stop this now. Okay. Number 26. How do you best separate time? Here's a fun question. Time to read as a mom. Okay, so starting over. Baby girl burning in the eyes. Okay. Woo, okay. Number 26. How do you best separate time to read as a mom, work, and a wife? I would be so curious. I'm a hairstylist, mama of 4, wife, and I love to read. It's a huge stress relief, but struggling setting time or making it daily reading time. Or do I just stay up and lose sleep? Yes, girl, there you go. That's the answer. Like, we just stay up on it. No, girl, it is a struggle for sure. And I stay up late. Yes, I do. Like, I'm like 11 o'clock going to bed, 11, 12 sometimes. I'd rather go to bed. I can always tell a difference if I go to bed at 12 versus 11. That extra hour matters all the difference because I get up at 5:30, 6 on the week, during the week. But audiobooks is a really big help for me. If I'm working, I'm doing a task, I can listen just easily. Like if I'm doing something that's not gonna like if I'm doing a spreadsheet or something in numbers, I don't really do that because I'll mess up. But if it's something I've done all the time, a menial task, I can listen. Or on lunch at work, I try to make an effort sometimes to bring my lunch so I can actually read a book. And that's a great challenge for yourself too. Like if you have time during the day, like I know you're a hairstylist, but if you have like your lunch period, you know, being able to like while you're eating, maybe you listen to an audiobook, or if you're like out driving around listening to your audiobook while you're driving, if you don't have your kids. I'm just trying to think. But honestly, staying up late and them audiobooks are just headphones in, like, you know, and I still try to be present, of course, right? Like with my kid and my husband and stuff. But there are times that you can find yourself, if you're doing laundry, I have like 30 minutes to, you know, listen to this or whatever. And on your phone, if you think like, let's just think, I thought about how I was on my phone all the time and I was watching TikTok all the time. This is back like last year. Honey, I deleted TikTok January because yes, screen time said I had how many hours of TikTok? Honey. I was like, okay, not today. So, I replaced that with reading and scrolling on here. Like if I have an ARC or something on my Kindle book, you know, if you have the Kindle app and it's not an ARC, you can do the continuous scrolling. But like, let me pull this back up. Like, it's just easy, you know, you can just scroll through and read. But if it's an ARC, they don't support that for whatever reason. I don't like that. But, yeah, I'm just trying to think. You don't realize how much time you spend like on Instagram or other apps too. Watching YouTube sometimes. I might just I'll save a bunch of videos to watch later. But I'm pretty good at watching videos pretty quick when they come out if I'm like, okay, if they're pretty quick to watch. But yeah. I don't know if that really even answered. I stay up late or I get up early and like in the morning from like while I'm drinking my coffee, I might read a book, you know, or my Bible or whatever. So yeah. What was the Christian fiction book that got you hooked on the genre? I kind of already talked about this, but you know, Redeeming Love, the Christy Miller books. Y'all, I read these in like on my Kindle and I loved them. They were awesome. And I thought, okay, and I started seeing that these were called Christian fiction, and I was like, well, because I was reading so much secular books, it's crazy. Like, you can always go on my Goodreads and look at my previous challenges and see kind of how my reading evolved. Like, all the different books that I would read. Y'all, this is 43 minutes. We are like, okay. Like, I look back, we're just going to do this right now. When I look at my challenges and see like what I used to read, like 2017 was a big reading year for me. I was watching a lot of BookTube and all that stuff. And y'all, Caraval, Wild by Cheryl Strayed, Casey West books. I was reading a lot of the Sailor Moon books during that year. Shadow and Bone. Several Casey West, actually 3 or 4 Casey West. Some Christian nonfiction. Ruta Sepetys. I'm probably saying that wrong. Ruta Sepetys. Between Shades of Grey. And I liked it. I would still read her stuff because it's whatever, but it's historical. City of Bones. I ain't reading that no more. Okay. And then I read Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. And I read something called Bone Gap. I don't know what that is. See, The Hate You Give, Like a River, Glorious, Ray Carson. I liked her. It was her gold series. Uprooted, Naomi Novik. I don't know about that. Heartless, Marissa Meyer. And then like Jennifer L. Armentrout, that Obsidian, whatever that was. I don't even know, I read 3 of them. Like, I just looked back and I'm like, what was that? That was 55 books, really? And then like 2018, I'm like, that's when I read Poldark. Okay, yeah, hey. And then I read like the Star Wars book. I read Shatter Me, like a bunch of those books, the whole series when it was done during that. I know the more books that come out, I'm probably not gonna read them. Okay, 2019 I read Colleen Hoover, and I did used to read Colleen Hoover like in 2013 and 14 too. I didn't mention that, but I ain't reading her no more. Where the Crawdads Sing, I read it. Kind of want to watch the movie. Magnolia Story, Twilight, reread it. That's when I started reading Skyward. I was rereading all the Harry Potter. We was in quarantine, honey. I had stuff to read. The Clockwork Prince, Angel and Princess. All the Carval books. Well, the last 2 Carval. I'd already read Carval the year before. And then by the end, I started reading Christy Miller. And this is a really long answer to this question. But yeah, I started reading Christy Miller. And I loved it. I just fell in love with these. I thought they were so sweet and cute, and realized that fiction could be clean and fun and not and have faith in it. And I loved it. So that's when, you know, I started reading that. And then we go into 2021 was like the big year I found Christian fiction. I actually started NetGalley because I had an Instagram for Book Lover Amanda back in 2021. And then I like stopped it for a while and come back. But, you know, I seriously, like, Submerged, Danny Petrie, Flights of Fancy, Jen Turano, The Crown of Rosamund, A Dance in Donegal, like, Courts of Swans, like, Melanie Dickerson, Sarah E. Ladd, like, Denise Hunter. It just, like, started going on, and then here we are. So that's kind of the journey of how I found Christian fiction. I hope that kind of was fun to hear about. But what's the next question? I think we only got a couple more. Oh, the last question. So, off the top of your head, who would you consider to be your top 5 I can't read. Who would you consider off the top of your head to be your top 5 favorite Christian fiction authors? This was hard because I don't just have 5. But, I mean, we're going to say Becky Wade. Becky Wade. And then Tammy Gray, Nicole Deese, Jennifer Dibble. And I think Sarah Brunsfold's going to be a new one, like, for sure, because Miss Kip. But, you know, some of the other ones would be like Len Austin, Sarah Sundin, Pepper Basham. Yeah, Basham. I always get confused how I say her name. Terry Blackstock, Kim Vogel Sawyer, all that stuff. Pretty much anything that I say 5 stars. I've had a ton of 5-star books. So, yeah, that's that's kind of what's happening, okay? I've been in here filming forever. And that's it for this Q&A. I think I hope I didn't miss anybody. If I have any other questions come in tomorrow on Monday, I'll edit this video and say, hey, here's some more. Hey y'all, editing Amanda here. So I did have one question I forgot. So somebody asked me, tell us about the book that changed your life for the better. And honestly, I have to say, outside of the Bible, that Mrs. Kip book really did change my life, honestly. Like, it just changes your perspective about how you treat others and just really living a life of a servant-hearted life. And it really makes you think about, do I have a servant heart? What more can I do to show that I have a servant heart, right? Because Mrs. Kip was a servant-hearted woman, and just everything about her was amazing. So, I don't know, that's something I'm really thinking about from that. I think that the Lord really worked through that book. I could just feel it in the words. I could just so feel it. And so that's right now the one that comes to mind. But I wanted to include that question because I had forgot. I was exporting this video and I was like scrolling through the questions like, oh no, I forgot that one. So yeah. Hey y'all. So I'm just going to update this video real fast. I'm in my closet because somebody asked a few other questions, a couple other questions I want to add in here. So one person asked about what kind of recommendations I would have for historical fiction. And that's going to be Sarah Sundin, Len Austin, Julie Klassen, who else? I know a lot of people have talked about this book, Amanda Dykes, Yours is the Night. This is one of Miriam's favorite books, actually the favorite book of the year for her right now, and I have not read it yet, but because it's her favorite and I trust her reviews, I would highly recommend this too, just because of what she has said about it. I've got to read it, so hopefully I will enjoy that. But just something to check out. A lot of people talk about Rosanna M. White. I've not read her yet. We are reading her for the book club this month. So Dreams of Savannah is the book we're reading this month. If you still want to read that, you can, and be a part of the discussion at the end of the month. Oh my gosh, this book won't go back in here. I'll post a video at the end of the month, so that's for anybody to read that book, Dreams of Savannah by Rosanna M. White, and you can participate in the discussion on my channel by the end of the month. But yeah, Sarah Sundin, Kim Vogel Sawyer, like the Boone's Hollow stuff. Yeah, Jennifer Dibble, obviously she's historical as well and has like romance involved. That's what I got for that. So the second question somebody asked, at what point is a secular book kind of like a no-go for me? And like for them it was like certain magic, or if it's satanic or evil for them, demonic, that they can't read that, and that's something that's like a trigger for them. So for me, I'm very similar in that too, but with magic, like I'm okay if it's like Harry Potter, the wands and stuff. That doesn't bother me, or that's fine. But like if you have some kind of magic that's internalized, spirit moved, you know, something that kind of rides that fine line of your internal spirit, I don't like that. That bothers me. That's a little much. I definitely don't like in books when they're taking like God's name in vain. That's like a big no for me. I can't stand that. I mean, they do it in the Outlander books, and I hate that. That's the one thing I hate, is when they cuss like that. That really bothers me. So I just really skip over it, you know. But general language really doesn't bother me much, honestly. But if it's the Lord's name in vain, that's like the number one thing I can't. As far as like the sexual content, I don't want to read smut. Now Outlander I know has that content, but like I said, I've already explained, that series is just like something that's in my soul and my heart from like the very beginning. And I'm invested in it, but like if something new like this was to come out, I probably would not pick it up. I don't know if that even makes any sense, but you know, it's just something that, it's almost like Twilight, you know. I was invested. I still enjoy Twilight as the movies and stuff. Like, I mean, it's just something like when you grew up with and you enjoyed it. I really don't even know how to explain, but yeah, like I've really made a big effort. You can kind of tell in my reading, I made an effort to read clean books and not include a lot of things that have explicit content in my reading. So, because I just, there's just no point, like, you know, and a lot of them are just kind of fluffy, smutty books anyway. Like the most popular, like that's honestly why I quit reading several authors that I used to read, because it was like, what is this? You know, this was just such fluff and it didn't even have any meaning. Whereas, like, I feel like these stories, they have such an impactful story that I forgive a lot of the things in here. I don't know if that makes any sense. So, sorry if that really don't. I mean, to me it makes sense, but I know, does that even make sense to anybody? I don't know. I can't give up my Outlander, but, you know, I really have made a more conscious decision to read books that are clean. And every now and then there might be something in a book that I don't care for, but like I said, number one thing, if they're taking God's name in vain, I don't like that. Number two, if there's some kind of magic that's more internalized in your spirit. Number three, I don't want to read smut at all. It's just irritating, because it's like, you know, yeah, everybody does have their own, like she mentioned specifically secular books, not Christian. Christian fiction, I might, you know, like on that side, I probably will like be a little more critical in some of the content because it's meant to be a Christian fiction, you know what I'm saying? Because like some of the books I've read as Christian fiction, they would have certain content in there, and I'd be like, well, if this was secular, you know, I might forgive a little bit more. But you know, it's almost like the Christian fiction books are held at just a little bit of a higher standard because what your expectations are. Whereas like with Outlander or something else that's secular, you know what you're kind of getting into from the very beginning. I think I said that with like the Beyond the Tides, like where I just was like, this numbing cream stuff was so weird and like just out of place, didn't make sense. It was a little much for my taste. Whereas if it was something like in a secular book, I still wouldn't have cared for it, but I'd have moved on and probably not taken so much off on the rating for it. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain that, but that's the best way I know how. So anyway, is what it is. I hope this made sense. I'm gonna go back to the video. This is going to be the end of this video. Thank you all for your questions. I hope you learned a little bit more about me from the bookish side and how I got to be here and on this channel. And I truly appreciate all of your support. This has been such a beautiful community. So I got a little emotional, but it is emotional that you get to make such great friends here. And I just love each and every one of you so much. So again, I really appreciate your support. And thank you all for watching. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye, y'all.